number one is to have peace in this nation, because some children grow in different countries and they adapt different attitudes from different countries.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. Lake State Acting Minister of Information says 5 people have been killed and 15 others wounded in clashes between communities in Rumbek Center County and Rumbek North County over the weekend. South Sudan has been ranked as the world's poorest country by gross domestic product GDP per capita in 2025 in the world-based data from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), as reported and published by Visual Capitalist. And a veteran South Sudanese politician, Teresa Siricio, has died at the age of 67 in Cairo, Egypt, following a short illness. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. Lake State Acting Minister of Information says 5 people have been killed and 15 others wounded in clashes between communities in Rumbek Center County and Rumbek North County over the weekend. William Koji says fighting erupted between the two communities after one person was shot and injured by a gunfire during a traditional ceremony at Gun Kettle Camp on Saturday. Koji further says the fighting was brought under control after the state government deployed security forces to the area. Dr. Madid Tiran, the medical director of Rumbek State Hospital, says the facility received 15 persons with gunshot wounds. William Kuji further said local authorities, including the commissioners, executive directors and chiefs, have discussed ways to resolve the tension. He said the ongoing disarmament in Warab and Unity States should be extended to Lake State to remove arms from civilians to prevent frequent clashes from the communities. South Sudan has been ranked as the world's poorest country by gross domestic product GDP per capita in 2025 in the world-based data from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), as reported and published by Visual Capitalist. The IMF list of the 50 poorest countries by GDP per capita shows that the majority of low-income nations remain concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa that are faced with persistent challenges such as conflict, weak institutions, climate vulnerability, and low investment in infrastructure and education. Gross domestic product per capita offers a quick, limited test of how wealth is generated per person within a country. By individual total economic output by population, it levels the playing field between nations of very different sizes. South Sudan tops the list as the world's poorest country with a GDP per capita of $251, followed by Yemen, Burundi, and Central African Republic and Malawi. Central African Republic's GDP per capita stands at $532, Malawi at $580, Madagascar at $595, and Sudan at $625, and are among the bottom 10. Nigeria, Africa's most populated nation and largest economy by overall GDP, appears surprisingly low on the list at number 12 with a per capita GDP of $807. Other notable entries include Somalia at $766, Liberia $908, Mali at $936, Chad at $991, Rwanda at $1,043, and Ethiopia at $1,066. Although many Asian countries have been steady improvement in income levels over the past decade, most of them feature on the list, with Myanmar at $1,177, Nepal at $1,458, and India at $2,878. The data indicates that large populations and uneven wealth distribution weigh down per capita income figures even in the growing economies. GDP per capita does not count for local prices, currency exchange rates, or distribution variance within the country, because there is also a more question of whether economic output can be equated to wealth. A veteran South Sudanese politician, Teresa Sirisio, has died at the age of 67 in Cairo, Egypt, following a short illness. According to her son, Mai Cornelio Corium, who spoke to iRadio this morning in Juba, Teresa had traveled to Egypt 2 months ago for a hip replacement operation. However, she developed an infection and was placed on antibiotics, which delayed the procedure. Mai confirmed that his mother passed away yesterday after experiencing shortness of breath. She was being rushed to the hospital in Cairo when she passed away near the facility. Her death was confirmed at 11:30 a.m.
Actually, she was taken over 2 months ago to Egypt because she had a sort of an operation to replace a hip. She was supposed to have a hip replacement operation in Egypt. But when she reached over there, actually can't be a without infection. They had a few mashakil there on the hip. So they decided to put her on antibiotics for quite some time. They had an infection. They put she is supposed to be operated. Fortunately, in the last few days, she developed some sort of short in breathness, and she had some difficulty in breathing. So Hajara Khan was not serious. Like in the last 3 days, she started to feel it day off and day in. Yesterday in the morning, she was taken to the hospital. She complained in the morning that she was having some issues breathing. So when she was taken over there, she couldn't even make it to the hospital. So she passed on near the hospital, and it was confirmed around 11:30 in the morning yesterday.
Yes. The late Teresa Sirisio was an accomplished electrical engineer and a respected political figure. Over her career, she served in several key government roles, including Deputy Minister of Environment and Sudan Deputy Minister of Telecommunications. At the time of her passing, she was a board member of the National Communication Authority and had served as a consultant for various NGOs and government institutions. Teresa Sirisio began holding ministerial roles following the Comprehensive Peace Agreement in 2005, which eventually led to South Sudan's independence. An advocate for women's rights, she was a prominent figure in national politics and civil society. She also served as chairperson of the Sudan African National Union, SANU, where she promoted political engagement and democratic governance. Later, as chairperson of the Reform Political Parties Coalition, she proposed a phased election approach, starting at the national level, then progressing to state and local levels to encourage wider participation, especially among displaced populations. In 2018, she declared women are backbone of humanity, men and women together and united can bring sustainable peace. The late Teresa Sirisio leaves behind a legacy of leadership, advocacy and unwavering commitment to peace and development in South Sudan. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. Authorities in Wunduruba Administrative Payam says Mongling Road, that was closed nearly a year ago following the gruesome killing of 11 people in October 2024, has been officially reopened. Stephen Tongo, administrator of Wunduruba, says the decision to reopen the road was made following consultations with area members of parliament and security forces in the area. He added that the road plays a critical role in facilitating the movement of residents and transportation of agricultural produce. Tongo further said that restoring access to the road is expected to encourage the return of community members who were displaced during the 2016 conflict. It will also support efforts toward resettlement and local development. The area administrator spoke to iRadio this morning.
The road was closed since 9 October 2024 due to some insecurity-related issues that really brought a lot of confusion. But when I said carefully with my honorable MPs in the community, we really felt that that road need to be open, though there was a lot of doubt and suspiciousness on in terms of security. And we had that meeting. We opened the road some 4 days ago. And of course, the road is very, very important in terms of delivering of goods and services. It will allow the community of Mongling to come back, because Mongling is a bigger area that the members were displaced, and then they are in the center. But when the road is open, as per what we have planned, the members of Wonduva from Mongling, they will of course come back to their initial homes and continue their normal activities.
The Mongling Road connects to Lanya County, Gorom, Dolo and Juba. The area had nearly 6,000 households but currently hosts 215 as a result of displacement caused by the 2016 conflict. And finally, a youth activist has called for inclusion of drug education in schools as a strategic measure to raise awareness and combat the growing issue of drug abuse among young people in South Sudan. Juma Daniel, Executive Director of Action We Foundation, emphasized that drug education is a structured and essential tool to inform youth about the risk, effects and long-term consequences of drug use and misuse. His call comes as experts and authorities have warned of increased misuse of substances such as alcohol and pharmaceutical drugs, including tramadol. Speaking on iRadio's Zone 72 youth program over the weekend, Daniel said that educating young people about drugs equips them to make informed decisions that can steer them away from substance abuse.
I believe that if you are educated about something, then it gives you two choices, either the health one or the unhealthy one. I want to talk about issues of drug education in this country. Why do we need to have drug education? It's a gap that we have in this country, just like the way we have issues to do with sexuality education. I feel we need to have drug education here in South Sudan, because the moment we reach with the right information about drugs, about the dangers of drugs to young people, can be able to poison their mind earlier than these products poison their mind.
Daniel also stressed that drug education, when paired with strong career guidance, can help young people discover their purpose and develop a clear sense of direction. Daniel urged the government and stakeholders to prioritize drug education as a preventive strategy to safeguard the well-being and future of South Sudan's youth.
If young people are given drug education right from primary level and with proper career guidance, and these young people will be able to have a purpose and a sense of direction in their life. And this is something that we missed, and I really want to see that the generations that in front of us, they really don't miss this.
Some states have stepped up measures to control the abuse of drugs among the population. For instance, Jonglei State in recent weeks banned the illegal sale of drugs and alcohol following a government ban, citing the rising number of young people affected. In Western Bahr el Ghazal State on June 16, 2025, the authorities issued a sweeping ban targeting both locally produced and imported alcoholic beverages and drugs. You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the regional and international news with Madrama James.
Ugandan leader Yoweri Museveni has confirmed he intends to contest in next year's presidential election, potentially extending his rule in the East African country to nearly half a century. In a post on the X platform late on Saturday, Museveni said he had expressed interest in running for the position of presidential flag bearer for his ruling National Resistance Movement NRM party. The 80-year-old has been ruler of Uganda since 1986, when he seized the power after leading a 5-year guerrilla war. Elsewhere, an oil tanker carrying about 1 million barrels of crude oil suffered an explosion off Libya on June 27, but no injuries or pollution were reported, a spokesperson for the operator TMS Tankers said on Monday. The operator said the Marshall Island flag tanker Villamora had left Libya's Zuentina port and was en route to Gibraltar when there was an explosion in the engine room. It added that the vessel is now being towed to Greece, where it is expected to arrive by July 2nd. Finally, 2 U.S. firefighters have been killed and a third wounded after a man intentionally started a fire and began shooting at a first respondent in a total ambush which lasted several hours, authorities said. The gunman, who investigators said acted alone, began shooting after crowds responded to a fire at Canfield Mountain, just north of Odielen, Edo, on Sunday afternoon. Law enforcement officers and firefighters came under sniper fire during the incident, and a special weapon and tactics SWAT team later located a deceased male close to where the attack took place.
Thank you, Madrama. And now to the sports news.
مرحبا بكم. Thanks, Baria Johnson. In the world of sport, let's begin at home. The South Sudan Football Federation is expected to announce the official timeline for its upcoming elective General Assembly later this afternoon, following recent developments within the Federation's leadership structure. The announcement is anticipated to be made during a press conference scheduled for today, where the newly formed SSFA Election Committee, endorsed during the latest SSFA Congress, will outline the roadmap toward the much-awaited elections. This move comes as part of the Federation's commitment to the democratic governance and alignment with national sports regulations. Stakeholders across the football community are watching closely as the SSFA enters its critical phase. The upcoming elections are expected to shape the future leadership of South Sudan's football, with implications for both local development and international representation. More details are expected to emerge following this afternoon's press briefing. Elsewhere, Morocco has established itself as the home of women's football in Africa, and over the next month, its national team will look to realize its burgeoning potential on the pitch while the country continues to advance at pace of it. The kingdom plays host to the 2024 Women's Africa Cup Nations WAFCON from 5th to 26th of July, having also staged the 2022 finals and been named as the destination for the 2026 edition. England captain Harry Kane scored his 40th and 41st goals of the season in all competitions as Bayern Munich won a pulsating tie with Flamengo to reach the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup. Brazilians Flamengo had gone into the game on an 11th match unbeaten run, but fell behind inside 6 minutes when Chilean midfielder Eric Pulgar diverted Joshua Kimmich's corner into his own net via the inside of the far post. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Baria Johnson.
Thank you, Lasuba Memo. You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Lake State Acting Minister of Information says 5 people have been killed and 15 others wounded in clashes between communities in Rumbek Center County and Rumbek North County over the weekend. South Sudan has been ranked as the world's poorest country by gross domestic product (GDP) per capita in 2025 in the world-based data from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), as reported and published by Visual Capitalist. And a veteran South Sudanese politician, Teresa Sirisio, has died at the age of 67 in Cairo, Egypt, following a short illness. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Baria Johnson. Thanks for listening.